Hey guys, welcome to Learn Web API in 7 days course. In this video, I am going to talk about how we can enable HTTPS in ASP.NET Web API. So to do that, we have to do couple of settings. Like we have to write a custom filter class and then add that in API configuration, and then apply require HTTPS attribute on controller methods. And then we need to create a certificate and install it on your local machine, and also we need to enable HTTPS support for our development server. We can do that for IIS also if you are using IIS, but here in this video we will be using IIS Express, which is our development server, so we will be enabling HTTPS for that. Now let's go to Visual Studio and see all these things in action. So I have this ASP.NET Web API project here, and so the important thing that we need to look at it is this Web API configuration class. In here we have to enable this setting, which is like adding a filter, which is it requires HTTPS, and this actually is derived from authorization filter attribute class. So when we add this configuration here, API runtime is going to have this registered, and for each and every request it is going to fire up this filter, and when this filter class will be fired up, this method will be called, and then here we are put a condition that if it is a HTTP request or it's a HTTPS, based on that we are taking these actions here. So if it is simple HTTP request, then we will give some error, otherwise we will let it go through. So this is the custom class that we need to write, and this is the setting we need to do in ASP.NET configuration class. Now the second thing we need to do is we need to apply this require HTTPS attribute on our controller method wherever we want to. And then the third thing is we need to create a certificate, SSL certificate, and install it on our machine. So for that we can run this command. This will create a certificate for you on your machine. Once the certificate is created, this command is going to put this certificate here, and then you can take the certificate from this location and install it on your machine. Now to install this certificate on your machine, you need to open this MMC console, and there you can install it. I have another video wherein I will show you how you can use MMC to install your certificate. Once your certificate is installed on your local machine, then you need not to do anything. The development server will keep on using it with the browser requests. Okay, now the other thing that we need to do is we need to enable this HTTPS in our development server here. Since I am using IIS Express here, so I need to enable HTTPS for that also. So for that you need to select this project here in the Solution Explorer. This is our Web API project, and then you go to View menu, and then at the bottom you go to properties window here, and then just click on this, and then you see here by default SSL enabled for development server. You can see here this is development server properties. It is false, then you need to make it true. The moment you make it true, it will start exposing two URIs. One is plain HTTP and the other one is on HTTPS. So we can use both these URIs for this Web API application. One will be running on simple HTTP, other one will be running on HTTPS. Okay, so now let's run this application and see what happens when we call these methods. So it's building it. Sometimes actually, okay, so it's running it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call this method here on HTTP. Since this method is can only be called with HTTPS. So I'll try to run it on HTTP and see what error we get. Okay, so let's go here and call this method which can only run on HTTPS. So you can see here the authorization filter is stopping this request. Now we need to run it on HTTPS. So for that we need to go to our development server and open the HTTPS URL from here, and then paste our API method call URI here, and I'll enter it. Now you can see here it's come in debug mode here. So it's calling it on HTTPS. Yeah, it called it on HTTPS. So this attribute method is working on HTTPS. Now we have another method which runs on HTTP only. So let's try calling this one also and see what happens. So this is my v2 and with category ID 1. So it's not working. Because why it's not working? Even though we don't have this require HTTPS attribute here, the API is demanding this call also in HTTPS. The reason is we have set a global configuration here. So once we set this configuration here, all the calls to this API app are going to be HTTPS only. So now if we want to make few calls on HTTP and few calls on HTTPS, then we need to disable this setting here. So I'm going to comment it. And so now what is going to happen? There is no global label setting. The only setting for HTTPS is this. So all the calls coming to this method has to be on HTTPS, and for all other methods the calls can be on HTTP. So now let's run it again and see what happens. Now I'm going to call our this method on HTTP only, which is, so you can see here the method is now called on HTTP because we removed the global HTTPS require attribute from API configuration. And since we have this attribute here, so this method will still keep on running on HTTPS only. So go here, click, yeah, this is still running on HTTPS. You can see here this is. So this is how we can enable HTTPS with the ASP.NET Web API application. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in next lecture.